Good evening. Is there any special topic you want? Does anyone have a special request for a shir? No, I'm serious. Does anyone have a special request, a certain topic or whatever? Current events? Go ahead.
Jay and I are learning.
Oh, just hold on, just 1 second. I'm nearly 80, another month if I make it, right? And the hearing gets lower as we go on in life. So you got to speak up loud and clear.
Jay and I are learning Shar Bitachon, and I would love it if you would talk about Bitachon.
Bitachon. Okay. Bitachon. Trust. We're all familiar with today's day and age. Who could you trust? Which politician? Mamdani or Trump or Biden or whatever? Trust. Right? Or do you trust your wife? Do you trust your children? Do you trust your parents? Trust. That's Bitachon. Judaism teaches Bitach b'Hashem, trust in Hashem, and asay tov, and do good. Right? Shchoin Eretz, live in Eretz Yisrael, or E'amuna, and pasture yourself or strengthen yourself with faith. Bitachon is a much discussed topic and not very well understood. Who do we trust? When do we trust? Where do we trust? Where do we place our trust and whatnot? Right? Rabbi Nachman teaches that Bitachon comes from praising Hashem, recognizing that He provided for you till now, He can provide for you further. Right? Now, there are people here who are probably paying mortgages. Yeah? Okay. How many times have you come across the problem? I don't know where I'm going to make the mortgage payment at the end of the month. Right? And somehow it was paid. There are people who say that for 20 years. Right? 20 years. I'm paying. I don't know where the mortgage is going to come from, and I pay it. Trust is something that you have to realize that Hashem provides every single day. Hashem provides for us every single day of our lives. If we would only look to Him that way, that's where the Bitachon comes in. Right? If you would look to Hashem every day for what you're supposed to get. Now, it doesn't mean that if you want a hefty salary or a nice bonus or whatever it may be, it doesn't mean you're going to get it. If you trust in Hashem, it doesn't mean that you're going to get it. Let's recognize that it's almost Rosh Hashanah. You have less than 3 months to Rosh Hashanah.
Book your flights.
Huh?
Book the flights. Book the flights to Uman.
Book your flights to Uman, right. Okay. But it's less than 3 months. And on Rosh Hashanah, the first day, sometimes the second, it's written down exactly how much you're going to get during the year. No matter what you do, you work overtime, right? Hashem has ways of breaking a leak in the house, right? Or some other kind of catastrophe that could end up costing you whatever it is that you gain from that special bonus and whatnot. Trust in Hashem means that He will provide whatever you need. Whatever you need. Do you know exactly what you need? No. Okay? That's one of the first levels of recognition of what Bitachon is. To know that I think I need this, right? I would like it. It's very attractive for me to have something like this, but very beneficial. but it doesn't mean that that's what Hashem has in mind for you. Now, there's a lot of things that come up when you start thinking about trust and Bitachon in Hashem and whatnot. Let's take it an example. Well, I guess we're all familiar with the Seder night, with the Chad Gadya, right? Chad Gadya starts off, this cat ate the kid. The dog hit the cat. The stick hit the dog, whatever, right? The question is, why are we so interested in all the things that happen? It's because Hashem has, Rabbi Nosson brings this in L'Kutei Halachos, Hashem has his way of what is right and what is wrong. The cat did wrong, it ate the kid. But who asked the dog to interfere? Who asked the stick to interfere with the dog? Who asked the fire? Who asked the water? Whatever the case is. Point is that we have no idea what Hashem has in mind for us. We can only ask. We can daven. That's Bitachon. I trust in Hashem. Hashem, you created me. Right? Tosus Yontov, Brachos, I think Perek Vov, Ketzer Mevochim. He says, if you notice in the Brachos, in the morning you say Birchas HaTorah, Baruch Atah Hashem, Noisein HaTorah. Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name of Hashem of Rachamim, he gives the Torah. It's a gift to us. In benching, right, you say, Nevarech Elokeinu she'achalnu mishaloi. Elokeinu is the name of Hashem that's used for judgment. Why using the name? Isn't he giving you parnasa, right? Because he's giving you out of chesed, his kindness, he's providing for you? No. Tosus Yontov says, because Hashem created you, you're his responsibility. He's got to provide for you. But what he's got to provide for you is a whole different ballgame, right? The Sfarim bring about a poor person, right? One of the advantages of being a poor person, let's take it from the Zohar. The Zohar, it's in Parshas Bolak, I think, this week's Parsha. The Zohar says we find in Tehillim 3 times Tefillah. We find Tefillah to David, chapter 86. You have Tefillah to Moshe, chapter 90. And you have Tefillah La'ani, chapter 102. So the Zohar says, which of the 3 tefillahs is the most accepted by Hashem? And the Zohar answers, not Tefillah to David, Malchus of Am Yisrael, not Moshe Rabbeinu, who brought us the Torah. It's the Tefillah La'ani. Why? Because the Ani goes before Hashem and he says, why me? Why me? Why do I have to suffer in poverty? Why do I have to suffer like this? He goes, so it says, Tefillah La'ani Chi Ya'atoif. Atifa is like a cover, like a garment, you would wrap yourself in a garment. The tefillah of the Ani is what wraps up all the other tefillahs and is what elevates it to Hashem. So it's a powerful tefillah. Why me? On the other hand, you have to understand that when Hashem gives a person poverty, unfortunately, may we all be spared, right? When that happens, we have to realize that's the mishpat of Hashem. And if we argue with Hashem too much over it, then we're placing ourselves in you're not accepting Hashem's will. That's Bitachon, accepting Hashem's will. This is what it is. This is the way it will be. In Mishnah and Pirkei Avos, we have Aseret Tzoncho Kirtzonoi. Make your will like Hashem's will. right? So very simply put, we should daven like that every day. Hashem, help me today. La'asos ritzoncho. I should do your ratzon. My will should be what your will is, right? And if things go wrong, did it ever happen? Things went wrong during the day, right? Never happened. Never happened, right? It happens all the time, right? But whatever the case is, right? If things go wrong, that's the will of Hashem, and I accept it. If I accept it, I accept Hashem's judgment, right? It means I have bitachon. It means I am relying on Hashem for whatever He is saying or doing about me or for me. I accept it. Then I have bitachon in Hashem, right? And then you have at the end of Volotzion, Yiftuchu v'cho yodei shemecha. You can only have bitachon if you're willing to accept Hashem. You have to recognize that Hashem exists, which a lot of us just walk around, where's Hashem in my life? Right? We don't even think of it. You have to be aware of Hashem. Being aware of Hashem is on a whole different level. They will trust in you, if they know that you're Hashem. Whether you're Hashem Yudke Vovke, which is Rachamim, compassion, or whether you're Hashem, I just got sick, right? Or I was just hit by a car, or I just lost Wall Street, whatever, right? All these different things. But I know Hashem. I know that's Hashem's name. If I know Hashem, then whatever's going to happen to me during the day is okay because it's Hashem's will. All right? That's bitachon. Emunah is almost like bitachon, but it's very different than bitachon. Emunah means I have faith. There is a God. There's a reason for my life. There's a purpose. Right? I was created. Rabbi Nosson says, think of Emunah like a four-legged chair. Right? The first level of Emunah, the first leg, is faith in Hashem. Right? There's a God. I believe in Him. That's faith. The second level is faith in the Torah. The Torah is Hashem's wisdom, which He gave to us. Torah is like from the word Morah, a guide, a teacher, a leader. Right? The Torah is a guide for us how to live our lives. I believe the Torah is from Hashem, and everything in it can guide me on the right path to do the right thing my whole life. That's the second level of Emunah. A third level of Emunah is Emunah in our true leaders. Right? Now there's a lot of leaders in Am Yisrael. Right? You have B'nai B'rith, you have AJC, what is that, the American Jewish Congress. You have a lot of leaders. You have a Congress, you have a Knesset in Israel. I'm fond of saying that look at the wonders. Someone told me once, he says, I find it hard. In the Dora Midbar, the generation that left Egypt, well, they had 10 plagues. They had Kriyas Yamsuf. They had man every day descending from heaven, right? They had water from a rock, the original Rolling Stone, right? They had all this is going on, taking place. They saw Hashem. What do we see today? Well, I live in Eretz Yisrael, and I said to him, well, we have a Knesset in Israel. And one of the greatest miracles, which I think is even greater than what we had in the Midbar, is the fact that despite the fact that we have a Knesset, people still get up every day and they go around their daily business. Right? If anyone knows what goes on in the Knesset, right, it's an amazing thing. Right? It's impossible to understand, but people actually live in Eretz Yisrael, and they get up and they work and they daven and they raise children. They do whatever they have to do. So it's a bigger miracle than what happened in the desert. Anyway, whatever the case is, we have to have true leaders. tzaddikim. There are true tzaddikim every generation. Chazal tell us there's no generation with less than 36 tzaddikim. Some say 72. Some say there's 36 in Chutz La'aretz and 72 in Eretz Yisrael. Some say vice versa. There's different midrashim. But there are true leaders. We have to seek them out. And there are false leaders too. There are people who dress up as rabbis and they're not really leaders. They just have an agenda and they do it. You got to look for it. Look at the Reform, Conservative, and there's even in the Orthodox. So you got to know Emunah. You have to look. You have to search for a true tzaddik, someone who could advise you. Anyone who advises you how to come close to Hashem is a true leader. That's emunah in the tzaddikim, in the true leader. But Reb Nosson says there's a fourth leg of emunah. And if you don't have that fourth leg, the other three won't matter very much. What's that fourth leg? Faith in yourself. Hashem created me. Hashem brought me to this world. He put me here. He brought me up in this environment. He put me into this situation where I am. I had a kid come to me once. He was from that bastion of Judaism, Wichita, Kansas. Right? It was really, he was born there. He was 25 years old. He said to me, I only found out about Judaism a year ago. I lost 24 years of my life. That's what he said. In a sense, he was right. But I told him it's not true. Who put your soul in Wichita? Who gave you your parents? Who put you in the school that you went, elementary school, high school, college, wherever it was? Who put you there? Hashem. Your life started a year ago. You're 1 year old today. Start from new. Believe that this is your life from now on. From now on. And that's one of the greatest levels of emunah, to believe. Every day you say in davening, HaMachadesh b'tuvoi b'chol yom tomid. Hashem renews creation every single day. Okay? What does that mean? That every day is a brand new creation. And every day, since the day is brand new, I could renew myself too. I may have messed up before. I probably did. I probably made mistakes in my life, right? Show me a person who hasn't, right? People make mistakes. They say the wrong thing. They do the wrong thing. They mess up their lives completely, right? I met a guy a few days ago. He's divorced now, and he has trouble with the ex. But he told me, he says, it's my fault. I went into drugs. I was in prison. I'm on parole. People mess up their lives. It happens. But we could renew the life. We could start again. If I have emunah, if I believe in Hashem, that He exists, and He is recreating the world every single day, then I could recreate myself every single day too. That's emunah. And we all have that possibility. We all have that ability to change our lives from now. Now, there are things we have, what do they call it, excess baggage that we have from the past. Yeah, we all have that. We all did something. And whatever the case might be, we could carry that and we do tshuva. We ask Hashem, listen, I want to start from new. And I start my life anew with faith in Hashem that I can accomplish. And if I have that, I will accomplish. I could be a tremendous person. Years ago, there was in Kfar Chabad, I forgot his name, but he was the Rav of Kfar Chabad. He was a Ger Tzedek. He was a convert. But he became a Rav. And he was able to paskin shilas and whatnot. Yeah? Change around your life. Right? That the chiddush of a Baal Tshuva is that they can take the past and they can throw it out Admit I did something wrong. Admitting is the hardest thing to admit. Did you ever argue with your wife and say she's right? Or whatever the case might be, with all of that, it's a case of a person learning to admit that I did something wrong, and now I'm rectifying my life. I'm really rectifying it. I'm really changing it around. So the Gemara says that wherever Bali Tshuva stand, even tzaddikim cannot stand. Why? Because the Baal Tshuva ate pork. He was Machal Shabbos. He did whatever he did. Maybe he went to brothels. Who knows what he did, right? And he comes, he can say, I was there, and it's not a good life. It's a wrong life. I'm doing tshuva. A tzaddik can never say that. Tzaddik can never say I was in the wrong place. He always was right. Right? So wherever a tzaddik, wherever about tshuva stands, even a tzaddik cannot stand. That's emunah, faith, that I have faith in myself. I could turn my life around. Okay? Bitachon, emunah, we can do it. Okay? Anyone have any questions? Or you want to go on to a different topic? Anyone has a different topic you want to choose? Don't be ashamed.
Huh? I'll ask a question if that's okay. I came a little late, but just hearing the ending piece that you just touched on, right? That you can turn your life around. But what about a yid who feels like he's sort of in like a parv state, where he doesn't feel like his whole life needs to turn around? Right? He's sort of coasting, or just living on that equilibrium. In some ways, it's more challenging, right? Because there are areas of our lives that we want to turn around, but it's not as dramatic as the way the Rabbi is making it sound, like from rock bottom all the way to the top. So what's the advice for someone who's sort of in the plateau?
Well, let's take it from the start. Do you have thoughts? Every person has thoughts, right? That's the machshava, the thought of a person. Everything originates in the person's thought. You want to wiggle your toe, it's got to come from the mind, right? So anything that happens is going to be based in the mind. So the first thing is, what do we do if my mind doesn't accept what's going on around me, right? That's your question, basically, right? Okay. A person, let's say Rabbi Nosson brings the Likutei Halachos, but others bring it. The whole purpose of creation was to make free will. That a person, imagine that, you're Trump. Does Trump want people to say yes, or does he want people to rebel against him? Right? He wants yes men, right? It's called robots. They're called robots. So Hashem created the world with free will, where people are not robots. People could act according to their desire. All right? Okay. You can go for Hashem. You could be parava, as Rashi brings the end of Pasha Shlach. Maybe I'm not going to do the mitzvahs, so I won't get reward and whatnot. There are different things. People have, so what, big deal. What do I need it for? Right? And then there are people who go against Hashem. Islam, right? Allah, right? Allah Akbar, and they can kill people, right? The whole history of Islam is murder. The whole history, take a look at them, whatever. Point is that people can do whatever they want. They have free will to act the way they want. Free will is the most incredible creation on this world that a person could do. So now, how do you have free will? Right? You study, you read, you ingest the environment around you. That's how you have free will. So the Gemara, Rashi brings it in this week's Pasha, Bilam, The path that a person wants to walk upon, that's the path that he will be led upon. In other words, those are the things that will manifest to him at that level, whatever level he is. So if I want a power of a life, I'm going to look for power of the things. If I want Judaism, I'm going to search, I'm going to study, I'm going to look. If I want Chas v'Sholem atheism, I'm going to look in that way. Take a look at the college campuses. What they teach over there today, incredible. When I was a kid, I was born in 45. So I grew up in the 50s. There wasn't a Jewish family that their kid didn't go to college. You had to go to college. I didn't go. Right? I said, I don't need it. I don't need what they teach, whatever the case is. But whatever. But in my day, they taught engineering, law, accounting, medical. They taught subjects that people could contribute to the world. Today, what do you have? Garbage. Garbage. That's what they filled the minds of the kids with. You just listen to whatever goes on. Absolute trash. Right? But this is what the people want. They asked for it. And that's what they got. So when you talk about a person who has a power of a attitude in life, if he's satisfied with it, you can't expect more than that. Can't. It's up to you to decide what you want out of life. Do I want to live, or am I satisfied just by existing, which is what most people do. Right? There are people who are alive. Whether they're good or bad is a different story, but they live with what they want. And there are many, the vast majority of the world, it's a power of a life. This is what I do. I got to get up in the morning. I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. Right? Nobody takes hold of their life. I want to feel alive. I want to feel the joy. So let's take the word, we mentioned it earlier, machshava. The word machshava is the same letters as the word besimcha, joy. Right? Would you agree with me that most of America is depressed? Right? Most of the world is depressed, but at least here in America you could see it. Right? Depressed. Prozac, right? And there's all these little pills. What about joy, inner joy? Rabbi Nachman, throughout his writings, emphasizes joy. You have to be happy. You have to be happy with what? With yourself. Be happy with yourself. Am I satisfied? Right? Okay, I may have a grind. I may have to go to work. This is what my position, my finances, it causes me to be in this kind of a bind. But do I have to be depressed over it? Or can I be besimcha? Can I be happy over what I have? Right? So there's lesson 282 in the Likutei Moharan. It's called Azamra. I will sing. Right? Rabbi Nachman begins with the premise of the Mishnah. Havidon is called Odom Lekavskos. Judge everybody favorably. Right? Judge everybody favorably. And he goes into how important it is to find the good in others. Find the good in others, then you could, live. But then he says, you're part of that judge everybody. You're the part of everybody. You have to judge yourself favorably. Did you ever say to yourself, you idiot, look what you did? Has it ever happened? Has it ever passed your mind? Right? You're not supposed to think that way. That's what Rabbi Nachman's teaching. He's teaching that you think positive. You think favorably. I know I did things wrong, but I also did things right. I also did good things in my life. You want to dwell on the bad or you want to dwell on the good? Rabbi Nachman says, dwell on the good. And it's a simple thing. If you think about it, right? If you're going to look for good, then wherever you look, wherever you see, you're going to see good. If you're going to dwell on the shortcomings, then whatever you see is going to be shortcoming. It's automatic, right? The Zohar says, Bilam, Rashi brings in the Parsha, Neum HaGever Shesum Oyin, his eye was blind. He was blind in one eye, right? The Zohar says that wherever Bilam looked, became cursed. Bilam was so evil that everything he saw was cursed. That's the way he lived his life, right? The Zohar has pages on the details of how Bilam made himself so evil. That's not for us. Baruch Hashem, we're Yidden, we have good things. But Rabbi Nachman says, focus on the good. Build your life on the good things that I did. Oh yeah, I messed up. I screwed up, if I can say that word, in French, whatever. But I did bad. But I did good too. So focus on the good things that you did. Build that. Use that as your foundation in life. And you'll find joy. You'll find happiness. You'll be able to live with yourself. You ever hear of Abraham Tversky, famous psychologist? Right? He has a book, several books, but he has a story in one of them when he was first setting out. I think it was in Pittsburgh. It was either Milwaukee or Pittsburgh. I don't remember where he said, but he took a vacation and he went down to Arkansas. They have the hot springs. There's a hot springs in Arkansas that is very healthy, soulful baths and all that kind of stuff. So he went there. He went into the place and he was about to take the soulful bath, and the attendant tells him, you have to spend 20 minutes in here. That's when the sulfur really is absorbed in the body and how it helps you. So he goes in, 5 minutes later he walked out. So the attendant says, you're not going to get the benefit. Get in there for 20 minutes. He goes in again, and he writes this, right? He goes in again, he's there another 5 minutes, and he walks out. And you got to stay there for 20 minutes. So finally he ended up staying there 20 minutes. And he said, I wondered why the heck I couldn't stay there. And he said, it was the first time in my life that I was alone with myself. I couldn't face it. Right? But he became a very famous psychologist, and he wrote a lot of good things. Right? Charlie Brown and whatnot, whatever. But point is that people have trouble living with themselves because I did this, I was wrong, I'm not getting this, I'm not gaining, I'm not this, I'm not advancing, I'm not growing. That's what people are. You're existing. You want to live? Be happy with yourself. If you're happy, and you know it, clap your hands, right? If you're happy, be happy. Be happy. Smile. Smile. Rabbi Nachman says something. He says, you don't know what you can do with a smile. You can greet a person in the street with a smile. Hello, how are you? Remember, that person, you don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he suffered some kind of terrible tragedy, and he's very down and out, and you greet him with a smile. You brought a smile to him. When you're happy, the whole world smiles with you, right? Smile. Even if you don't really feel the smile, force the smile. But force yourself to live with joy and happiness in your life. If you do that, you'll find your shalom bayis is better. You'll find that your work attitude is better. You'll find that you can accomplish more. You'll find that you can study more. Your mind is clearer. You have a positive attitude in life. All right? Okay? It's up to you. Who does it depend on? You. Right? Every person is that way. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone have a question? A subject you'd like to talk? Go ahead.
A lot of times we sort of know what we should be doing or which direction we should be, I guess, putting our efforts towards. But how do we make what we think and we do know become what we feel? And let it be something tangible, and our perspective shifts and our instincts and everything else goes along with it towards what we know it is. And
Rabbi Nachman has an advice called Hispoidedus. Hispoidedus is from the word badad, alone. He says, you have a wife, you take time out to give her, you have a child, on the way. But you have friends and, right, you give them, right? Did you ever give time for yourself?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to take time for yourself. Sit there by yourself and speak to Hashem. Or as a friend of mine puts it beautifully, how could you ever establish a relationship with someone with whom you never speak? Did you ever speak to Hashem? Hashem, I got this problem. Hashem, thank you for this. Hashem, I'm worried about this. Did you ever talk out your heart to Hashem? He's your best friend. I mean, he's not your friend, but he's your best friend. Learn to express yourself before Hashem. Articulate whatever is in your heart, whatever is on your mind. Articulate it before Hashem and speak to Him every single day. Take time out for yourself, right? Shut the world out. Shut your cell phone off, right? Disconnect from the internet and just, you're in a corner. If you have to, then just lie in bed under the covers. Nobody sees you, right? Do it whichever way you can. Connect with Hashem and pray to Him and ask Him for guidance and ask Him to help you make the right decisions. It'll happen one day, it'll happen 20 days, it'll happen a year. But you'll begin to see a clarity in life. You will begin to see it. And that way you'll always be able to know, Hashem, I got a problem. Should I do this or should I do that? I have reasons for this. These are my reasons. These are my reasons against pro and con. Talk it all out before Hashem. Right? As you talk, you will see clarity coming to your mind. As you talk, as you express yourself, as you articulate, it'll come to you. And when it comes to you, you'll be able to know that you're doing the right thing. Right? We have plenty of times.
It's so hard. I tried, I was in a good group, and I worked up to like 30, 40 minutes, and it's so difficult.
Yes.
To get there, and then once you're there, to stay there, and to have the words.
Yeah, there's something in the world called meditation, right? People take time for themselves, and they meditate without speaking to Hashem, right? It's hard, but people do it, right? And they have a more tranquil type of life because they're more or less at peace with themselves. That's what Hispoidedus does for you. It brings you to peace with yourself. But what you have to do is do it. You got to speak to Hashem every single day, right? You do it, you'll see the difference. If you don't do it, you'll never see the difference, right?
You're saying outside of regular davening.
What?
Outside of regular davening?
That outside the regular davening. First of all, you ever hear the Mishnah Berurah, right? The Chayyodam and all, right? So the Chayyodam says that a person should set aside time in Shemona Esrei. For instance, let's take the halacha. Rafa'enu. If I want to pray for someone who's sick, in the middle of Rufa'enu, I mean, in the Sidurim, they have a little tefillah. But if I want to pray, I'm allowed to use my own words, my own language, English, or whatever, and ask Hashem to send the refuah to that person. Borech Aleinu Parnosa, right? I'm allowed in the middle of the thing, Hashem, I got a problem with my job. I'm allowed to speak out. And Yashiva Shaftenu, I need advice. What am I supposed to do? Well, you can do it with every bracha. You can, and I have done it sometimes. Really, but I've done it. I just felt in the middle, I got to speak to Hashem about this. Chayodim says every day a person should daven that he does the will of Hashem. His children are good children, right? And a few other things. Mishnah Berurah brings it, I think, in Siman Kuf Aleph. I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly. But he brings it. And he says, better that you should say that at the end of Shemona Esrei. Right? He says it at the end. After the Hirotzon, that's when you should say that extra tefillah. Rabbi Nachman says, say it separately. Right? I mean, the Chayodim, a litvach, not a chosim. He said it. The Mishnah Berurah, a litvach, not a chos, says you should do it. Right? The Chofetz Chaim was known to every night go up on the attic in his yeshiva and have his poidus and ask Hashem and make a cheshbon hanefesh. What happened with this? What happened there? There's a famous story told. One time he was doing that cheshbon, that accounting, and he couldn't find 3 minutes. What happened to those 3 minutes? What did I do in those 3 minutes? Right? But he had his poidus. He had that. Right? The idea is it's aside from Shemona Esrei. Why? Because Shemona Esrei is set out for you by the Anshe Knesset HaGdolah. Right? The members of the Great Assembly are the ones who set it up. It's their words. Their Ruach HaKodesh, it includes all the tefillos of every single Jew from then, which was over 2,000 years ago, till today. Every Jew has a portion in that. They said Ruach HaKodesh, it's for everybody. And therefore the Shemona Esrei covers every single facet of life. Anything that you need in life is in Shemona Esrei. But what happened before the Anshe Knesset made Shemona Esrei? What did people do? They spoiled it. They had their own prayers, right? And that's really the way prayer was until the second Beis HaMikdash. Okay? So outside of Shemona Esrei, take your time to be yourself, to get to know yourself, and to ask Hashem whatever it is. And if you want $1 million, ask him. You want to win the lottery, right? Ask him. Doesn't mean he's going to give it to you, but you can ask him. You can ask the sky. The sky's the limit, right? Anything you want. The better thing is to ask Hashem to let you come close to him. That's the most important prayer. Hashem, let me feel you. You say Kedusha on Shabbos, Musaf, Aye Mekom Kvoida, where are you? Right? Did you ever say that during the day? Hashem, where are you? Where are you in my life? Say it. Say it. Hashem, where are you? I know you're here. I know you're there. I know you're everywhere. Right? That famous Chabad song, it's great, right? Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is always everywhere. He is. I sing it all the time. I love that song because it makes me close knowing that Hashem is all over, right? But ask yourself, where is Hashem? Where are you in my life? How can I connect with you? That's the most important. I can connect by davening. Let me daven right. Right? Let me put a little bit more effort in what I do. Let me learn more. Let me study Torah more. If it's Chumash, if it's Rashi, if it's Mishnah, if it's Gemara, if it's Musa, Hasidus, whatever it may be. Let me ask Hashem to help me, guide me. And which books should I be learning? Should I be learning Kabbalah? There's a whole Kabbalah center. They study Kabbalah. They don't know a thing about Shulchan Aruch, but they study Kabbalah. right? They don't know a thing about Hashem, but they study Kabbalah, right? Right? Is that what I should be? What should I be studying? Shulchan Aruch, so I know what to do as a Jew. Should I be studying Chumash Rashi? Should I be studying Mishnah, Gemara? Well, what am I supposed to be studying? What am I? Ask Hashem, guide you. Eventually, ideas will form, and you'll be able to react to them and complete your life and be happy with what you're doing. Right? Any questions?
Yeah. So last year I heard a shir from this Rabbi Weinrib. I wrote down what he said.
Don't know him, yeah.
It's very fascinating. He said, Rabbi Nachman writes in Tzifos Haran that in the door of the Mashiach, it will be as big of a chiddush for a yid to be a pashut a yid as the Baal Shem Tov was b'chayil.
Right.
So I wanted to know.
You want to understand
what does
that.
it mean to be a pashut a yid?
Right. Okay. So let's take it. The Baal Shem Tov is one of the tzaddikim that stands out in all generations. Right? He could be up there with Avram Avinu, with Rabbi Akiva, whatever. He could be up there. What does it mean that to be a simple Jew would be a greater chiddush like the Baal Shem Tov? Because, let's do it differently. There's a sefer called Shivchei Ha'ari, the praise of the Arizal. In that sefer, it talks about Reb Chaim Vital, who was the Ari student, his closest student. And it says that the Ari praised him a lot. He gave him a lot of credit. And he compared him to Rabbi Akiva. Now, the Sifri, Medrash, right, states that V'leikom b'Yisrael oy k'Moshe. Among the Jewish nation, nobody ever stood up as great as Moshe Rabbeinu in Navi, as a prophet. But the Medrash says there, a chacham, a wise man like Moshe Rabbeinu, did come. Who is that? Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva is compared to Moshe Rabbeinu. Hey, I mean, we're talking here, heaven people, right? Godly people, right? And Reb Chaim Vital was praised like Rabbi Akiva. Where does it come to that? And the answer is